Hi, everybody. This is where you would usually be hearing Nick and I ramble about, I don't know, something. But this week we made a mistake. We decided to have a conversation about the Game of Thrones finale, and subsequently we spoiled the entire series, if not at the very least the ending, for about 11 and a half minutes. So rather than just like trying to jump in here and tell you to skip ahead and accidentally catch the end of our conversation, which by the way, I believe it ends on a spoiler, so there's no good way to do that. I'm just going to cut this, put it at the end, and leave you with this here. So if you'd really like to hear our conversation about Game of Thrones, you can find that after the usual outro. So in its place, though, I'm going to read to you my article that I wrote about the end of Avengers Endgame. So at the end of Avengers... All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Two Dumb Dads. I am Chris.
I'm Nick. And
this is episode 55 for May 24th. We're here to talk about stuff. And I say that without meaning to sound too ridiculous, but we realized that like on the show we usually like come up with a theme and then we talk about the thing and then like we be banter back and forth about whatever the topic of the week is. And in that we don't really do as much like checking in with like general parenthood life. Like where are we in the moment? Where are our kids? What's going on in the world? Part of the thought process of the show is that we're going to kind of document our like thoughts and feelings about being parents, and we haven't really talked about where our kids are and where we are as parents at the current moment. So we thought we'd do a check-in. Our kids are both about 2.5 years old, which I hear is an important age.
Yours is almost 3.
Mine is almost 3. Yeah, she's like halfway between yours and
mine is exactly 2.5 via your wife.
I know. We found that out on Sunday.
Because your wife knows all the information.
Because she's smart. Or because it's like a job flaw. Like she has to know the 2.5.
Yeah, because Sarah and I both felt really bad. She's like, no. She's like, I have to know. I was like, oh, okay, great.
It's an occupational hazard for her.
Yeah.
But so because of that, I thought it'd be kind of fun to like check in where everything's going on. But before we get to that, we're going to dive into an utter takedown of my adventure in dadding from Monday. It didn't get it out as early as I wanted to. Monday. So for a quick recap, because I always forget to do this shit, and you're really good at it, so I'm going to make sure I'm... essentially, my adventure in dadding is a follow-up to my previous one from a couple weeks ago. We had the play dates. We've actually had 2 play dates now. And as part of that, Thea broke out of her incredibly shy kid shell and really made a connection with one girl. And so like she became really really connected to this kid. Had a great time, has been asking to play with this girl for like the couple weeks in between. So on Sunday we went, we made a play date with everybody, and this girl came and they were having lots of fun. And then Thea went to like take a snack break or something, and then when she went to go play with this kid again, she was playing with someone else.
Bitches.
And my daughter just like had that like heartbroken look of like, oh my God, my friend is somebody else's friend now, and she's not my friend, and I feel betrayed, and I feel this like immense sense of loss. And all I could think was like, oh my God, that's exactly how I've been my entire life.
That's me.
It's so me, and she's gonna get this terrible trait of mine. So that's essentially what happened. If you want the whole story, find Adventures in Dadding episode 5. It's out there.
It's a quick one. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I actually thought it was a really good adventure in dadding, and I had a lot of thoughts on it. It was something that like I've had thoughts about because you're my friend. You watch people parent that like. So I guess so. How much do we project on our kids? Like that's what it made me think of, because I thought about, because you mentioned like we've talked about different things we're concerned about with our kids as a whole, right?
Sure.
Like I always like look for miles like with ADHD because I have it and my wife has it,
right? So
like there's that possibility. And something I've tried really hard to do, and I'm not saying I'm always good at it, but I try to do, is understand that like he might not have it, and
sure.
like if I'm looking for those things, I'm going to give it to him in a way that be like, well, no, he has to have it because he has all these things and these are all the traits and it's got to be that because we have it. And I'm basically projecting my own fucking fears on him. And I thought about the shy thing because I remember, because I've seen Thea be shy. I've seen Miles be shy. Like,
sure.
Kids are shy at this age. Like, it's part of their personality. It's actually, from what I understand, proper development. They're supposed to be.
And right around the age Thea is now is when she's supposed to be breaking out of it. And she is. She is right on track. Like, don't get me wrong. I do not think she is developmentally behind or something. I think she's right on track. I'm not saying that her shyness is a character trait yet. I think that is something that will develop however she happens to age.
But you kind of said it like it's a character trait. And so this is what I'm talking about, because you're like, she's shy. She's a shy kid.
Oh, no. Well, yes, but not the... I mean, for now, it's a character trait. Yeah. It'll evolve. We all evolve perpetually. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're trying to make a statement about how terrible I am.
No. I'm saying, but... Because
I'm a horrible human.
Because I started thinking a lot about this. And you mentioned, like, stuff with anxiety, too. Like, you're worried she has anxiety because you have it and Erin has it. And so, like, you watch for all these red flags that she might have it.
Right.
Which, again, I do it with other stuff, right? And then I try not to, because at the same time, she might not have it. And, like, how much of just normal kiddom are you attributing to this thing she might have? Which John Ronson did a great thing about this, like, where you diagnose kids with shit they don't have because we overdiagnose stuff because we're scared of it. And it just made me realize, like, thinking about our kids' personality and their development. And I thought about my niece, right? So my niece was, when she was little, like, I mean, she never went through the shy phase. She was always just like awesome. And then she's now a really quiet, shy kid. And I just realized, and her brother is the exact opposite. He was super shy. And now he fucking loves everybody. Right. Like, he's like he's like the kid who, like, loves everyone, has tons of friends, and has to have friends or he goes fucking insane.
Sure.
And it made me realize at this young age, like, when I look at their personalities, well, they have personalities right now. Like, that's something I think that's been a really big development. I have no guarantee that's what they're going to be. And these things that scare you, like you projecting this feeling, I think that's just, and you kind of mentioned it, like, it's just that. I'm the same way. I'm super socially awkward. I've learned to fake it really well, where I can, like, and then I lean on my wife, who's not. Like, we had this joke about the play date where I was like, she's like, I'm so bad in those situations because I'm just not wholesome like they are. And I was like, no, that's fine. I can fake that, though.
The people we were with were not wholesome. We spent like 30 minutes talking about how we wish we had a beer cooler.
Yeah, but she views them as wholesome because she's, because they're not our other friends who run a brewery.
There's that.
But I always tell Sarah, I was like, but that's the thing that's great, is I'm really good at that initial, like I can track stuff to talk about, which I did. Like, okay, the one guy's wife is an actor. She went to the certain school. I know about that school. Let me use that as a conversation point. Like, I'm good at tracking those things that I've, and then I let Sarah come in and clean that up, right? Because eventually, like, I get really awkward and shy and don't know what to do anymore.
You're like the politician's handler, right? It's like, okay, this is actually President Valdez's wife. It's his third wife, so don't mention these three kids.
But I don't know any of their names, so you have to figure out the names on your own. I can just tell you random factoids about them. But it works really well in tandem when meeting people, right?
Sure.
But I kept thinking, like, I always feel like I don't want Miles to be that. Like, I don't want Miles to be like me in that way, because it's a really anxiety-ridden existence when you don't know how to say. And in the same way, like, sometimes I see stuff happen, I'm like, oh no. But then I realize I can't do that because this, I don't think, has anything to do with how I am. And so when you're talking about your adventure in daddy, I guess, like, for me, I'm just like, that's your fear, not hers, right? Like, that's your truth, not her truth. Like, yeah, she was hurt. But, and you said it, like, but it's okay. She'll get over it. She's 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just funny to hear, like, our own parenting foibles. And I guess, like, as your friend, I'm like, don't project too much on her, because you don't want her to feel that, right? Like, you don't want her.
So here's what I've taken away from this.
Well, you're a bad person, but that's what I take, like, every time.
That's just the running theme of this show, is we each hate each other in some particular way.
Yeah, that's called friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how. Have you not watched Game of Thrones?
I have not. Just skip the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That you already have to be past to get to hear that.
That's how we get you.
So, God, I have to remember to put a spoiler alert on the beginning of this description.
You should write a good sound effect for that.
I should, like, boom.
Yeah, like, find like some.
Fuck, I'm gonna have to record like another opening separately. It's just like, hey guys, we fucked up. We
find like movie guy voice and be
all
like,
of this.
spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yes.
This week on the Dads.
It's like Half White Son of the Black Man. One of my favorite things about that podcast is his opening music because it's
good.
tailored to his podcast.
It's good.
You should listen to that podcast. Anyway,
what were we saying?
What you were getting
my
at,
kid?
I was saying don't project your shit on your kid.
Oh, so what I've gotten out of this whole thing is that you feel like personality traits to some degree are developed based on projections the parents place on them.
I think it could be. It's in the kind of the nurture part of stuff.
Well, see, I take a similar view, but kind of the exact opposite. Is it's less what you project onto the kids and more a matter of like what you demonstrate for them. And so like for me, my fear wasn't so much that like what Thea was first of all, what Thea was going through, I don't think was unnatural. Like, I think that is a very natural thing to experience at that age. What is unnatural is being my like goofy ass who still feels it at 30 something years old. It's like, dude, it's time for you to grow up and realize that you have like close best friends and then you have acquaintances, and your acquaintances can be acquaintances with whoever the fuck they want. You don't need to get that close to people. And
acquaintances come and go too.
Right.
That's what I've learned as an adult. Like,
yeah, you'll have some today, you won't have them next week, whatever, who cares? And I'm getting better about that. But at the same time, like, I still know, like, when I find some, like, an acquaintance, I put the effort in, like, oh, we're friendly. Oh my God, I'm actually friendly with somebody. I need to hold on to this friend forever because I'll never make another friend. And like, and I'm aware that I am at least partially projecting this onto her, but also I'm kind of not, because it's kind of like her first new, like, friend that she's made, not in the settings that she's used to. And so I think there is an element of like what I'm irrationally feeling and what she is very rationally feeling and learning about right now. Like, that's the same basic feeling that what she's going through.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I don't think I mentioned this in the in the adventure, but the one thing we did is we tried to handle it correctly by saying like, oh, it's okay, she's playing right now. Why don't you go over there and like play with some other kids? Like, there's some people over there who want to play. Why don't you play with them? Like, see, it's okay. We can play with fucking whoever we want to because it's the park. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's hard because I think it's something that's going to come back. I mean, like any of your parenting issues, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean they're issues, right? Mm-hmm. That are going to constantly come back. I mean, mine for bullying, like, the minute I told you about that way back when the kid made fun of him at school, and I wanted to like.
Wait, hold on to this. Hold on. Which brings us to a wonderful segue of what we're going to discuss for the rest of this episode. Holding. So, like, we're just kind of checking in right now. Like, what is it like parenting a 2.5-year-old? Like, the kids' age that I think the last time we did this, the kids were like 1.5. It's been at least a year.
We checked in with Thea on her 2-year birthday.
We did. Okay, so it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, like, let's do it again. Like, things change so quickly. Let's see where we're at. So, what are you going through? What are you witnessing? What are you expecting to go through? And maybe start with this bullying thing that you were talking about.
Oh, I was referencing what you were saying. I think one of the things
I know what you're referencing. We were just talking about this.
For people listening, Chris, it's called being a good podcaster.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, it's one of the things I think a lot about as Miles gets older and socially interacts more that I'm going to struggle with as a parent because I'm projecting.
Sure.
Is bullying, because I was bullied so badly. And like, I understand bullying's going to happen.
Can I just say, every time you say this, I'm hearing like bowling. Like just rolling a fucking ball down a lane. It's got a big ass head. It's got to hit those fucking nails and just hit those pins.
It's funny because, bullying is something that I'm sure my son will both do. And
I think I'm hearing it weird and you're doing fine.
Maybe. He's both probably going to be someone that does it and he's going to be the victim of it, because I think that's just part of being a kid, right?
He's got a hard head. He's just going to run up and like nail people with it.
Just like... Rhino, that shit. But because it was so detrimental to me, I know that like that's gonna be something I struggle with as a parent.
Is that something that's starting to rear its head anywhere?
A little bit.
No, like legitimately though, right? Because like as I think I've mentioned this before on the show, like Thea went through a phase where she was kind of the mean girl. Like she would like run up and tell people they're doing things wrong and that like they can't play that way and blah blah blah.
At this point, that kind of bullying
totally developmental. Again,
it doesn't bother me at all, because like it's not. The kind of bullying that bothers me is when they start to target on things that like you don't have control, like the way you look, your height, your weight, like who you are and your personality. Like Thea bullying because she's the bigger kid at 2.5 and because she's a big kid at 2.5. Like just like I watched a kid bully Thea at daycare because that kid is younger, but just happens to be like a little bit bigger. And you're like, there's the size dynamic.
Right.
So no, that bullying doesn't bother me because that's developmental and like Miles is going to do it too. For example, he did it. We went to one of Sarah's coworkers has 2 young kids. They have a house in Jersey City with a swing set and back. So we went over there because one of their kids is like 2 days younger than Miles. But like Miles had one of this kid's loveys, right? Because he likes stuffed animals, which is fine. You know, you share.
Sure.
And this little kid was not having it and like kept trying to like taking it from him. And for most of the day, he just kind of like let it happen. And he'd go back and get it. And the mom would be like, you give that back. And he would. So eventually though, this baby had a piano, like a mini grand piano that they could play with. And of course, Miles loves music. So Miles like run over and he goes to play with it. And this kid fucking hauls off and hits him. And Miles stops, looks at her and goes, boom, and hits her back. And we were like, and at one point we like looked at the mom looked at us and she was like,
she just shrugged.
Yeah, she would, because her little kid had been picking on him the whole day. And Miles didn't do, like, he was good. He just like kind of looked at us and he'd get the thing back or he tried to take it, but he didn't like retaliate. And he finally did. And at one point we were sitting there, his parents were like, first of all, we're horrified. Then we're like, and this little grandma was like, she deserved it because she's
just fair.
Yeah. And so, but I had that moment of like,
at the same time, if I was you guys, I'm like, why the fuck aren't you like parenting your kid right now? If your kid's bullying my
because we were talking to each other. Well, she hadn't. She'd been making sure that the kid gives the toy back, and like so every time these things happen, the mom was handling it. But in that moment when Miles retaliated in that way, because we were like talking when this happened, we all just kind of were like,
sure.
And we didn't. I was like, Miles, you don't hit, and the mom was like, no, she's like, you fucking hit him first, and I was like, okay.
I mean, that's the right response. It's like, Miles, don't hit, but also, hey, lady, teach your kid not to hit too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not blaming her because she had been good with all the stuff all day long. It's just funny. It was a funny moment of watching my son finally, because he's pretty passive. Like he just doesn't really care. He'll just move on to something else. But as a parent, it's like kind of like, no. I mean, I was like, yeah, she deserved it.
Sure. I mean, I'm similarly kind of going through like a phase where I'm starting to make realizations about my kid. And it's strange because I'm starting to notice like, okay, we are officially approaching, if not actually in the moment of parenthood, where the things you say and do and like set examples for and everything actually matter now.
Oh yeah.
And I am so not ready for it.
Yeah.
Like I have been
3 months from there, but yeah.
I have been mentally preparing this for a while now, but like I am now realizing like, oh, like Thea, like as I've like, I like we have conversations, like we have actual conversations and she like understands what a toddler would understand of it. But at the same time, like she's absorbing all of it incredibly quickly. And it's like, I'm pretty sure I've said a lot of things in front of her that I shouldn't be saying anymore. Like not just like the obvious, like, oh, Santa Claus doesn't exist and blah, 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 blah. But things just like about the world and death and religion and like any type of whatever belief that I have. And I'm like, oh shit, these are actual choices that I should be making and not just like flippant you overheard dad talking type of things.
But the side note to that is maybe that's a good thing because I think you're right. Like I think they're definitely sponges at this point where they're hearing everything. It's like watching a movie, right?
Sure.
At that moment, I was like, he actually understands what's going on in this movie to an extent that he can at 2.5.
Sure.
He might not be able to vocalize everything but he gets it.
Right.
But yeah, so like because you as a parent are gonna have beliefs that you're going to tell your child that are not the beliefs I think of a lot of mainstream people, right? Sure. And so you're gonna have to answer that question why, which I know you're totally fine with doing. But like saying some of those things, right? Like about I wouldn't do the Santa Claus one, but
I'm just going to like, look, kid, you don't like, she doesn't like Santa Claus anyway. Santa Claus is a big, scary creature with a white beard. Unlike Daddy, who's a big, scary creature with a brown beard. Yeah, it's totally completely different.
But I think that there's some merit, like, because you're fostering an environment of the why question, right?
Right.
That it allows you to answer those questions because you did say them, because you are open, you're having those conversations. I actually think that's a good thing. I think the thing you're gonna have to kind of quell, because we're having this a little bit, is when they start saying things you don't want them to say. So like Miles has been saying stupid, like without realizing what it means, being like, you're stupid, like, but not to anyone, just saying it. I was like, no, we don't say that word.
Stupid's the word you don't say?
You don't call someone stupid or something stupid,
I
right? That's what I'm trying to get.
I call everything stupid. But I say it in like a term of endearment, like, that's a stupid TV show. That's awesome. I can't wait to watch. This is, yeah, anyway.
But I think we do some of that too, but I don't want him picking up the word and connotation. He doesn't say that many swear words yet.
If that's the word that he picked. Wait, that many? What are the ones he does say? I want to know.
Oh, I told you he sang the fuck song one time.
Ah, I forgot about that.
He was saying the sexy song the one time.
That's not profane.
Sexy.
I think the worst thing that like Thea will say right now is like vagina and penis. I'm like, yeah, no, that's right. That's accurate. Like, please go to school and use those words. If they yell at me, like, okay, tell me what she should say.
Yeah, we swear more than that. So,
right.
But you're right. I think there's this time to be cognizant of, we're not quite there yet. We're now in the phase where Thea was when I drove her home that one time, which is 3 months ago, where she was like asking me all the random whys.
Sure.
Miles has hit that point. Okay. Where all of a sudden, like, there's just more work. Remember, I think I talked about this one week where like I could tell this was coming because he was getting really frustrated about stuff. And sure enough, like now it's like,
that's great.
Yep. Like, 3, 4, 5 word sentences. Like I know he's telling Aaron on the ride home that he was going to have yogurt when he got home. Which again, it's exactly where I remember I was like blown away when Thea did it. I was like, holy shit, she can like ask why. And like, but now you're to that next point where I think you do have to like think more about like everything.
Yeah, and it's the real challenge because, and it's not just that. It's not just like the things I say, but it's the things I do. And like that right now is the really hard thing that I'm having. Because like if I just to use that park example again, like I made a real focus to make sure that I didn't just chase her and that I also actively tried to like stand with the other adults and socialize, because that's the thing I'm really bad at. Like if I am socially uncomfortable in a moment and my daughter's around, it's easy to take the out and like, I'm going to go chase my daughter and play with her because I really love my daughter, and everybody is going to be accepting of a grown man playing with his daughter.
It gives you an out.
But I was like, no, I can't do that. I want to make sure I'm setting a good example. And of course, I also just want to like try and actually make friends because I'm really bad at that.
Yeah.
And I realized like, okay, that's a good thing. But now I kind of have to do that every time. Like, not just like that specific thing, like all of the good things, like all of the good habits, the good traits, the good whatever that if I don't want her to take up my bad habits, then I have to fix them within myself in hopes that they won't be passed on to her.
And I mean, yeah, you're right. But some of that is understanding that you're not going to fix all of them and you're going to pass some of them on to her. And just, it's the process of working at it, right? Like you're in the process because, and this is something I've learned from like the bad habits from my parents, which we've talked about, like, and like the yelling thing, it's a great example. Like, sure. I understand it's going to happen again. I just do. Like, I'm fully cognizant. Like, I, as a parent, am going to yell way more than you will ever yell as a parent because you weren't yelled at. Like, It's not the default that you understand parenting.
I'm also just not that type of I'm not a yeller.
Yeah. But I'm sure we could go through different parenting styles that are more or less effective in each of us that we learned from our parents, right? Sure. That we're both trying not to do. Or not, that's the wrong way. We're trying to better ourselves as parents.
No, it's okay. Like everybody knows that every parent fucks up their kid. Yeah. It's just a truth of life is that every parent fucks up their kids, is trying to find the best way to fuck them up.
And fuck them up less than the things your parents fucked up, don't do it in the same way or less than.
Right.
Which I'll say, like, my parents are great about that. Like, my dad yells a lot. His dad was way worse. He got better with it, right?
Sure.
And so I think with this, like, it's important, I think, as parents to try to understand, like, we're going to fail, but to do our best to model those things and figure them out. Understand, like, we're not always going to do it. Because I think if you have that pressure of, like, this can never happen, I can never do this, it gets in the way of all the other stuff. Like, at least for me, like, understand, like, I don't want to yell. I'm going to try not to yell. I'm going to try really hard not to yell. I'm probably yelling more than I even realize I am. But the fact that I'm trying really hard to make sure that doesn't happen, I think that's because in me trying it, I'm going to teach it far less than I would have otherwise.
Sure.
I think that's the important thing, right? Like, I don't want Miles to be as passive as I was. Like the bullying thing. Like, when he hit that little girl, it's kind of like, yeah. Because I wasn't that kid. Like, I always had to be default nice. That I never stood up to those bullies.
Sure.
And because of that, like, that has detrimentally affected me. Like, I wish I would have punched a fucking bully in the face and not felt bad about it. I wouldn't have gotten in trouble, but I thought I would. Does that make sense? And like, so I don't want Miles to have that, like...
You may not get in trouble from your parents, but you totally would have from the school.
But my parents would have been like, did it work? Probably.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Do you think you would have been a different person if you had?
Yes. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think that I would have.
Yeah.
I think some of the things that, I mean, again, this would be a comment that would have to come from you or your wife or my wife, right? Who have known me and are my friends and
Sure.
have things about my personality that you enjoy. There are choices that have shaped my personality as a person that I think you like and Aaron likes and my wife likes, which is good, right? These are good things.
Presumably.
That like I don't like, or that I wish I would have made different choices, which would have changed me as a person. I think for the better overall in society, maybe not always the better in my relationships. Would have made me function better in society.
Mm-hmm.
Like not always being so fucking nice. Like I know that, but like even Sarah says that on the scale of people who aren't nice, like I gear towards pretty nice usually.
Sure.
But that causes me to pent everything up and then have big ass blow ups, which doesn't make me a good person, as opposed to just maybe if I wouldn't have been as nice all the time, maybe that wouldn't be my truth.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
fair.
I think that would change who I was, right?
Sure.
So when I look at my son, I want him to have those qualities that I like. Be nice, be kind, but also stand up for yourself, because you can still be nice and kind and tell a bully to fuck off.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if the fact that I threw 2 punches changed things. I've thrown 2 punches in my life. Both times I was pushed in. No, one time I was pushed into a fight. I threw a punch. It missed. The other kid threw a kick, which I caught. I should also point out I was a foot taller than this kid at the time. And subsequently, we both looked at each other and went, I don't really want to do this to you. No. So, okay, let's not do this then. And then the second time, somebody threw a basketball at my crotch, and I hit them before I knew it. And I was so scared and ashamed that I walked away. Fortunately, they didn't follow, because I probably could have gotten like just demolished.
I mean, you have the benefit of your size too.
Yeah, I was like 5'6", 5'7", and like by the time that both of these things happened in grade school.
And you're a big guy in general. So like you just experience. There are things in life that bullying wise you'll experience differently than me, because like I'm just not intimidating because I'm like 5'5", and
yeah, I'll be honest, being 6 feet plus has been a real boon in my life.
It is. Heightism is a thing.
That's a thing.
But you know, I would say like
except on roller coasters, that shit doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I get like listen. Also, I mean, it's been proven short people live longer. So
I mean, there's that. There's less crunch on the bones.
I know, I'm doing great. But you know, same thing. I would wonder in your life, because you know, I know you as a friend. Like, there's the thing where you default to being passive, right?
Right.
Like you're the peacemaker. But like, is that always the best default to go to? Like you're much less emotional. You're much less.
No, I think both of those things are accurate. I'm much more passive. I'm much less emotional.
But you are emotional, but it's more like internalized and not as much like
it's a simmering rage.
And mine's more external, where
it never comes out, but it always simmers.
You're a writer, I'm an actor. That's a really good way to sum up the emotions and how we experience them.
Yeah, for people in the arts world, sure, that's great.
Yeah.
What I will say is that's one of my big concerns as well. Is I don't want my daughter to be as passive, because the world doesn't treat passive women well. Like she will always be taken advantage of. She will always be manipulated, and those are only in like the social, like the acceptable ways. Like that's all I'm thinking about right now. I'm not even thinking about like the terrible, like a guy is trying to take advantage of her.
I haven't even gone down that road with stuff yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not even going down to like the hard questions yet. That's not even on my radar right now. I'm just thinking of like, how can I make this kid enjoy Captain Marvel, and how soon can I show it to her? Obviously not tomorrow, because it's not out yet. You know, on home, whatever. But
yeah,
like there's a lot of like squish and goo in that film, and she's 2.5, 3. Like it's probably too early to show it to her. But also, I wonder if this isn't the movie where I just go, this is the one movie I'm going to let you have a little squish and goo. I
mean, you know, I 100% like I've been trying to, because my son is all into animals, and I've been trying to like push into superheroes.
Right.
I've gotten one that he likes Spider-Man. And he likes Justice League action. And that's like I'm told him like, yep, they're kind of violent, but like I want to be able to introduce the superheroes sooner rather than later. So I'm 100%, yeah. Start watching Captain Marvel when it comes out. Maybe she doesn't
like anything that doesn't have music, except for Gilmore Girls. She likes Gilmore Girls. But I think she also just really likes saying Troubadour, because we do that.
Miles was that way too with things with music.
Yeah.
Try Justice League action. It's got Wonder Woman.
I'll start with the Avengers or something before I do that.
With the Avengers cartoon.
There's an Avengers cartoon?
Yeah.
We've been watching She-Ra, which is just fucking amazing. I think I've already recommended that. I might just make it another recommendation.
You have recommended it already.
I will recommend it back-to-back weeks if I have to.
But I think you're right with kind of trying to get us back in circle. This kind of
we're so fucking lost.
But when you talk about like having to start parenting in that way, like that's where we're at right now with all those things. Like how do you want to steer your kid's personality? How do you want to steer their personality in that moment? You know, what do you want to strengthen that you see? What do you want to try to take away? Like it's hard. It's a much different. It's beyond the just tantrums and taking care of point of parenting.
And that's the weird thing is because the tantrums didn't start until fairly recently.
Well, some people say, because my son started them before 2.
Yeah.
For some kids, 3 is worse than 2.
Like she threw one this morning. And like she'll do it periodically, but she doesn't do it very often. I don't know if it's because we just cave really quickly to everything or what.
Could just be her personality.
It could be. Oh man, that'd be so great if I got a chill kid with this too. I kind of feel like I've gotten it too easy though.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it is you caving too easy, that comes back to bite you later on.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Well, this thing I think I've talked about that. Like we've come to the conclusion, like our kid, and I love my son. He's just not a chill kid. Like he
has zero chill.
He does at school. It's funny. Like I remember early on I told Sarah, I was like, if he's good in other places, I'll be happy. And we got that kid. Like.
What are they doing differently that he's not chill at home?
Just not his parents. I can tell you this from Sarah coming home after being gone from 11 days. I had that shit, which I'll go more into on Venture Day. I had that shit down to a science when he came home. To the point that like I had like minor meltdowns that every kid has. Like they want something, you don't have it. They only know how to express that by being upset. I don't count that as a meltdown anymore. Meltdown's like on the floor crying, like I had my shit down to a science. And the minute you introduced another parent into the dynamic, when it went from just one of us to 2 of us, it changed everything. Because now it's a different like objective, right?
Gotta play both ends against the middle.
So I think at school, it's so like the way they do everything is so regimented, and none of them are his parents. Like Thea, I mean, I've seen Thea have meltdowns at school, but some of it's always when Aaron's there. Because again, it's her mom, right?
Right. She doesn't want to share mom.
And as I'm sure, and again, I'm 100% sure Aaron is like on her shit there too. You're always going to be easier on your kid. Like I think it's just kind of like.
I'm always curious how it goes there because I always hear like the stories, and like I know Thea gets special treatment, and especially from Aaron. Like the other kids, I don't think get to be rocked at bedtime as much, and I know like Thea's like. If Thea wants it, Aaron will like, I want to snuggle too, so screw it. I'm going to go snuggle this kid for an hour if I need to.
My kid gets it too, but for the same reason. Just why he likes your wife so much.
Sure.
Yeah.
And obviously, at the after hours thing. Look, it's hard to count like the after hours thing as special treatment because it's just like you're hanging out with the owner.
And it's just the 2 of them at that point. I think they kind of get the same.
Right.
But I guess my point is like, yeah, you might have a chill kid. It might be that you cave really fast. It might be that she might just be chill. I mean, I've seen her have the meltdowns of non-chillness because I'm just at daycare more.
Yeah.
But I think it's just kids, I'm finding, and we know this, like they understand rules and dynamics at different places. So with Miles, I think when he's at daycare, he understands his rules. They're really strict on those rules. And I think there's just a lot to do. Like I think he's just there's just a lot of stimulus. But when he gets home, like if something isn't the way he wants it to be, or if he has an expectation when he gets home and he doesn't get that expectation, he has a meltdown because it's the same thing. A lot of times we'd cave to it.
Right.
It was easier not to cave to it when it's just me, which is the funny thing is I think when you have 2 parents, it's easier to cave because you're dealing with the patience level of both parents in that given moment. When it's just one parent, you can do whatever you want the way you want to do it.
Sure.
And that's what changes, I think, at home. Is you're like, he learns to play both people in a weird way.
Right.
Because he's fucking manipulative. But my point is he's just not a chill toddler. He's just not.
Have you seen any sign of that changing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, because he has more language.
Sure.
The minute he has he still has tantrums, but the minute he has more language, things change. I've noticed that as a whole over the last 2 years. Almost 3 years, is before he picks up more linguistic skills, he is more tantrumy and just grumpy. And then once he starts learning these words that can ask for those things, it goes down. Now you get a tantrum if you say no to it.
Right.
But that, that makes more sense. If you have to explain, well, no, you can't have that. The challenge then is getting him not to whine, because he's
Sure.
kind of whiny about stuff. But when he finds out he can ask for something and get it, it gets way better. Because again, he started right before Sarah left. He picked up more, like I said, 4 or 5 word sentences, which he can ask for shit now.
Yeah.
It's great. Like it was game changing. All of a sudden, it really changed how his mood was.
Sure.
So I think that's just his personality. I think he gets frustrated right now when he can't get what he wants or articulate it. Right.
Sure.
And so it makes him, and then once he gets a certain threshold, he just throws a tantrum.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if Thea hits the 3-year-old tantrum, which is what like some of my cousins' kids did, where they were great till they were 3, and then 3 was the shit year. 3 was the year that was like.
I mean, yeah, that's how it's kind of supposed to go, right? I don't know. I suspect it's going to, because I'm just starting. She wants what she wants.
Yeah, which is how Miles is. It's just that she has more words.
Yeah, she will definitely discuss it and try to negotiate it, and she's starting to try to trick us. Like the big thing she's doing right now is, I just want to hold it. I just want to. No, I'm not going to eat it. I just want to hold it. And so I because she got really into Frozen recently, we've been watching a lot of Frozen, and so I had like 2 hours between classes this week, and so I was just like walking around Tribeca, just like trying to find her like summer clothes, like basically killing time, but also trying to like just like mentally Thea focused. Mm-hmm. And so I walked into a place to grab like a drink or something, and I noticed they had like the Frozen branded Jelly Belly gummy beans. And I was like,
oh, those are cool.
What the hell? I'll get these for her. That'll be a nice little thing. So I brought those home, and of course, like I gave them to her right as we were sitting down to eat dinner, because I'm an idiot. Because I'm a fucking idiot.
At least she sits down to eat dinner.
No, she doesn't. She sits down to eat dinner, and then she doesn't eat it unless like we just pay absolutely no attention to her, and then she wants the dinner that we're eating. If we ask, do you want some of this? No. Okay,
yeah, we have that
fine.
too.
We're gonna eat this. Well, I want some. Okay, here you go. Here's the, oh gosh, look at this plate that was already made up. Who'd have thought it? But anyway, I gave her these jelly beans right as we were sitting down to eat. And of course, like the second I do that, she's like, oh, I want some. Well, you can have some after dinner. I'm done. like,
well played.
You
well
haven't
played,
eaten any.
Tyrant.
You haven't eaten any though. Like, oh, well, okay, look, you... eat some dinner, and then you can have these back. I want to hold them. All right, well, I know you can't open this up yet. So, okay, you can hold it. So she's holding it while she's like trying to fork things with her non-dominant hand, and just like, I ate a bite. Can I have one? Okay, you can have one. Oh, but I want to hold it. And it's like, okay. Next thing you know, she's like shoveling them into her mouth. I'm like, God damn, I knew. But at the same time, I wanted to give her the chance to prove me wrong. Like, you gotta give them the chance to be the good kid for them to be the good kid. And then I was just like,
I love the one bite thing, because we did that with Miles one time. I was trying to get him to eat something. I was like, take one bite and then you can have a cookie. And sure enough, he goes, bite down. All done. I was like, you fucker. And then, like, what do you do? Like, I want to keep my promises. So I was like, I said, Sarah looked
gotta change your promise. Yeah. That's the trick.
I know. Sarah looked at me. She goes, you said one bite. I was like,
can't be that specific. That's the thing that I've been learning, is you can't be that. It's just a general, like, you have to eat some dinner.
Because they're literal. It's amazing how literal they are at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you said one bite. Or like, he wants yogurt. So he wants a specific kind of yogurt. Mm-hmm. He doesn't understand that, like, yogurt's yogurt. No. So then I had to like save the container the one yogurt comes in and put the other yogurt in it.
Sure.
Because it's literal.
Yes.
All the...
yeah, no, like that's the thing. Like we've started making sure that we use very general terms when we are negotiating. That way it gives us wiggle room. It's that way it's like, okay, you have to eat some dinner. Okay, all done. No, you need to have some more. Okay, I'm all done. No, you need to eat some of that broccoli. And then eventually it's like, okay, you ate half your dinner. Whatever, fine. Here's your like tiny itty bitty gummy bear or whatever the fuck it is that you wanted. And so I'm finding the general, like eventually that's going to backfire. They're going to actually negotiate. But for now, at 2.5, generalities are key.
Yeah. Oh man, the one bite thing. One bite. Okay.
Yeah, I made that mistake a couple times too. I thought maybe she couldn't count yet and she'd start at 7. No, it didn't work.
No. My kid's been counting since like 1.5, and not like funny counting, like actual counting. I should have known better.
All right. Well, we're going to have to kind of move on, and that means recommendations. This is the part of the show where we recommend the things. I know this is a novel concept. Nick, what do you have to recommend?
I have 2 things to recommend, both TV shows.
Ooh.
One is, I said Justice League Action because it's fun. So it's Justice League, so if you like superheroes, but it's 15-minute episodes.
Okay.
So, and there's none of the backstory really. It's just the Justice League. Like, it's just Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, like, stopping a villain, but it's kind of Teen Titans-y, so it's not like as dark. It's more fun and a little goofy, but it's like a good introduction to the Justice League. And sometimes you get a little Clark Kent. It's New 52-ish.
Okay.
So you get a little Batman sometimes, a little Clark Kent, Wonder Woman romance going on.
Cool.
But it's fun, and it's colorful and bright in 15 minutes. So it's fun to watch with Miles. He really likes it. And so it's allowed me an introduction to like Superman, because now he likes Superman.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Thea's actually starting to show interest in comic books. Like, I got her a couple comic books, and she keeps opening them up to read them. But unlike her other books that we've read a million times, she can't open it up and then like tell the story of what's happening. So she's just like, what's happening here? And I'm like, oh, you see, this girl is punching this guy in the face because he's trying to disrupt the time. Thea, let's just go back to reading Bernstein Bears.
It's just, we're not quite there. But Justice League Action, if you wanted to get into some superhero stuff, it's a good, because it's that good time limit for kids.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu, so if you want to enjoy it.
Cool.
I think it's really fun if you like the Teen Titans stuff.
Awesome.
And then my other recommendation, which is the real one.
Just burning through them.
Yeah, Cobra Kai Season 2 is fan-fucking-tastic.
Is it really?
Yes, Cobra Kai Season 1 is brilliant.
I don't know. I keep seeing that. I'm just like, this seems like the most like sketchy, like, I don't know, independent film,
so
like
good.
college type of like film concept.
So here's the thing. It is, but so here's the thing. It is, but done really, really, really well. With just enough throwbacks to the films that you find it nostalgic, but different enough that it's its own thing. It is funny. It is funny in a smart way. It's funny in a crude way, so you get both humors.
Okay.
It's also really, really heartfelt, and it deals with parenting stuff in it too. It is a beautiful television show because it is exactly what it is. It's Harold and Kumar with like heart to it. It's by the same guys that did Harold and Kumar.
Okay.
But with all the characters from Karate Kid as adults and their kids.
Okay. Weird. I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
It is fucking weird, but it has like 80s throwbacks in it, but in a funny mocking way, but also in like a heartfelt way. It's just really fucking good. And the second season is still good without all the tropes of the first season, which is the uniqueness of it being, the sequel to Karate Kid.
Sure.
It's great. And they're half an hour, so you can watch them like, it's 8 episodes, half an hour each. So you burn through it and you're like, oh, great. I've watched them both seasons 3 times now.
Oh, cool.
It is my go-to, like, put something on that I don't necessarily pay attention to, but it has really great moments.
Yeah.
And the young actors in it, the kids, are awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Listen, it's great. It's a great show.
So my recommendation for this week is going to be the Cubs winning a lot of baseball games.
Oh, you're watching the Cubs again now?
I have been. I still have problems. I'm not going to go down this road.
I know.
I'm not going to go down this road.
I'm poking you with the stick because
so
it's been fun to watch. I agree.
It has been. So the reason why the Cubs need to win a lot of baseball games is because I haven't even gotten to my fucking recommendation.
I know what it is, though.
Is because my daughter is obsessed with the song "Go Cubs Go."
Is she really?
By Steve Goodman, I believe is the name.
That's awesome.
So I don't know exactly how she heard it. I assume I was watching a baseball game one time and they won, and so they kept the feed going long enough to hear the song, and so I started singing it because, I mean, come on, if you're a Cubs fan, you sing the song when they win. You have to. But now she will just randomly like "Go Cubs Go," "Go Cubs," Cubs song, baseball song. And I guess it's become so popular at school that other kids are now requesting "Go Cubs Go," which is just just heartwarming. I'm so glad that we're able to bring Cub fandom to the metropolitan New York
Do you know
area.
who one of those kids are?
All of them, from my understanding.
Yep.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
We sing it at home.
As you it's an easy song.
Yeah.
So here's why this is such a great song. Aside from the obvious Cub fandom, and the literal Cubs reference to it, because it's all about the Cubs, it is a repetitive song. It is an easy song. And if you're one of those people who have to have a YouTube video, there are the most wholesome YouTube
You love
videos
yourself some wholesomeness.
of like grade school classes singing along to the to the various verses, and like each class of the school will get a various like couple lines. It's just so cute and adorable and wholesome, and it is a wonderful recommendation even if you're not a Cubs fan, which you should be. But if you're not a Cubs fan, I still think it's a wonderful song for kids, because it's a real easy way to introduce them to music.
Did I mention that my son now walks around saying, "Go Cubs, go Bears, go Bulls"?
Yeah, accurate.
It's my favorite thing.
Accurate.
I'll be like, "Miles, what's up?" He goes,
Add Blackhawks in there. I don't know anything about the sport. I know they're in Chicago.
"I don't know. I'm a 3-sport guy."
Yeah,
I put his hat on. He goes, "Go Cubs." I was like, "Yes, sir." And I was like, "Who else?" He goes, "Go Bears."
Sure.
And then
Yeah, that checks out.
I'm working on the Bulls. Eventually, maybe they'll be fun to watch.
You know what? No sport is fun to either all sports are fun to watch as a kid, or no sports are
That's
fun to watch
true.
as a kid.
I'm an adult, and all sports are fun to watch for me.
Thea enjoys baseball. I'm happy. I think it's largely she just likes it when she gets to like sit and bond with me.
He likes basketball. We tried baseball. Basketball's
fair.
what he likes. 'Cause it's fast. I think it's because it's like a constant movement.
I think Thea just likes like the random shots of the crowd, of like people being goofy in the crowd. That's my guess. I don't know. Either way, it's fun.
Anyway,
Oh well, as always, you can find me at Chris Moss again on Twitter and at Rampant55 on Twitch.
you can find me at NWestermeyer on Twitter and at NWestermeyer on the gram.
You can find us at twodumbdads.com. And of course, if you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, whatever, you can email us at the number 2dumbdads at, wait, no, that's not it. That's not a thing. It's emails at the number 2dumbdads.com.
Or you can head on over to our Facebook group, which is Two Dumb Dads, and leave some comments or comments. I've been posting articles on it a lot for people to read if you want to check some out.
Oh, cool. You should do that. That'd be fun. I like articles.
I know.
Until next time,
Later.
be well. That was my butt.
I want the last word. Excelsior.
Damn it, I need silence. Give me some silence, god damn it. I did. I thought it was good. I mean, look, you can't end something. Look, we're gonna fucking talk about the Game of Thrones. Right?
Yeah, spoilers. Spoilers.
Spoiler. We have to say spoilers, otherwise it's unofficial.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I look, you can't satisfyingly wrap up a giant story like this. People are gonna be fucking unhappy. But I liked how it closed. I thought it was an interesting statement to basically say like, and after all of this shit, nothing changed. Democracy didn't happen. Socialism didn't happen. Communism, whatever fucking thing you thought might happen. We are still basically in a monarchy, but now we have two monarchies and like a representative democracy of sorts.
It changed, but it didn't. Like I said, someone said they broke the wheel, to use terms in the show, but it still is very similar. It's like it's different but the same, like you said.
Yeah.
Like the way the king is chosen is different.
And they still show that people are going to have ambition. Like still going to be people in this world who want the throne. So it's like, all right, great. You've solved the problem for the next 40 years or whatever the fuck you have. This is still going to be a shitty society.
Yeah, which I think most societies are. I thought it was really good too. Someone said, I thought the show, like the last two seasons, were really fast because they were truncated episodes, and so it changed the storytelling dynamics, which I was okay with. Like, it wasn't something that bothered me, but I know it bothered some people. The only thing that I said, like, it wasn't the best ending to a show I've ever watched. Like, I still think Breaking Bad was a much better
Yeah,
Breaking-
see, I never watched that.
Breaking
so.
Bad, I still think is the best show that's ever been made. Like in terms of an episodic, to me, it's to me, just in my opinion, of all the episodics I've watched. So it wasn't Breaking Bad, but it wasn't Dexter. Because like Dexter's one of the most so Dexter and Lost are probably two of the most disappointing season finales that I've watched.
Well, because that was supposed to have like a sequel series that never happened, right?
What, Dexter?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I just know at the end of it I was like, really?
I heard that they were supposed to make like some sort of a sequel series, and so they never they refused to kill him off. Like they weren't allowed to kill off Dexter.
Okay. Yeah, that one, and then like I like the series ending of Lost, but I know why a lot of people didn't. So
because it was awful.
I was fine with it. I was like, all right, that's fine. But Game of Thrones, I thought, landed somewhere in the like middle of that. I've heard that the end of 6 Feet Under is like the best ending of a show that's ever happened. I haven't watched it, but everyone says like that is how you end a show.
I can't think of very many shows that I've actually like watched through to completion.
Gilmore Girls.
Is it completed?
Yeah,
though?
she
Like,
said it is. They've all but said that's how she wanted to end the show originally.
yeah, but they've also continually talked about bringing it back again.
Well, I mean, Game of Thrones is coming back.
Well, yeah, this because there's gonna be like 13 sequel series.
One spinoff at the moment.
I've seen all of Monk. I've seen all of Psych. Although they're talking about doing another movie or something, so is that really completed?
So how's the Monk ending? The ending series of Monk.
That actually was really touching. That was a really well closed off one.
Did you feel satisfied at the end of it?
Actually, yeah, they really do tie it up nicely.
That's good. So there's a good one.
I watched How I Met Your Mother, and that's one of those series where I was like, "Yep, I called all of this shit." Like when the show started.
There's a great one. The ending of Game of Thrones, I felt about how I felt at How I Met Your Mother.
I think that's how most people felt. I think that's fair because I think a lot of people wanted something different.
Yeah,
and like okay, oh god, that sucked.
That was nice.
All right, so let's get. I hate this. Like, we need to have it remade. Like, this is not good.
It's so like, stupid.
Look, no, you don't get to, like. They're creating the best they can create. Like, you know why those earlier seasons were whatever? Because they had a book to follow.
Yeah.
They had a book that was fully fleshed out over hundreds of thousands of pages, and subsequently there was a lot of detail that they got to put into the filmmaking outside of the actual plot. Shit didn't exist this time. So, they had an outline and they had to fill in the pieces.
Right. And the other thing is too, and they also did 2 shorter seasons. So all that extra minute storytelling that you were saying was a waste of an episode, right? Because that's the other thing, like, well, nothing happened to that episode. This is what it looks like when you don't have those episodes. Like, I'll tell you.
Right.
And also like, and I read a really good article in Slate about Game of Thrones, like before the season launched. And basically the person's like, no one's going to be happy because you can't create a world this big, like, and have everyone want the ending they want. It won't work.
Sure.
It won't work. It's you, especially if you're trying not to be the trope of a fantasy drama, which actually it didn't do, which I appreciated.
Oh, you mean like the marry them off happily ever after thing?
They said,
sure.
So basically they said either are going to marry them off or happily ever after. You have the scorched earth where basically no one wins. And then there was one other potential ending. And that didn't happen, or it might have been that like John gets the throne, right? Like
right.
And he's like, people are gonna hate all 3 of those endings. So what did they do? They gave it to fucking Bran, and I was like, Sarah and I both were like, good, like I'm great, I'm good with that.
So I was kind of in the favor of the idea of after Jon Snow stabs her that she turns into the Night Queen.
I never heard that one.
So I don't remember where I read this, but essentially there was a theory of like blah 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 blah. She'll turn into the Night Queen, and the cycle will continue. And I was like, that. I like that. I like that idea of like all of this death and destruction and chaos and villainy, and nothing changes. The cycle repeats itself.
Kind of like the Matrix. Like there's always a chosen one.
Yeah, okay, sure, maybe no, but okay.
I mean, that's kind of what the Matrix did.
Is it though?
There's always a Neo.
Yeah, and that's like the one thing I almost felt it ended on too happy of a note. Because yeah, like say what you will about this show, like it kind of wrapped up happily ever after.
Yeah,
like, people died and whatnot. By the way, can we just point out the Starks win? Like at the end of the day, the Starks win. Like the Starks win hard. Like granted, like 90% of them die, but 90% of everybody in this world is dead, and the Starks own now 2 kingdoms.
Yeah, the Starks win. You know what? The other thing I actually liked about this too, and this is like the adopted kid in me thing that I liked. that someone was like, well, Jon Snow being a Targaryen didn't matter. I was like, yep, it didn't. You know why? Because he's a fucking Stark. He was raised by the Starks. He's basically Ned fucking Stark reincarnated as a person in the black, because that's how all of his values, all of his morals, all of who he is Ned Stark. So you know what he ends up being at the end of the story? A motherfucking Stark.
Sure.
And I liked that. I liked that so much, that him being a Targaryen outside of like...
Well, because he's also a Stark. He's a Stark and a Targaryen.
But you know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't... The Targaryen was the part that didn't matter.
Yeah.
His ending was a little confusing, because like Sarah and I were talking about, is he... I mean, really, why do you need the wall? But that's a different story. Is he just leading them back out into a place where they no longer have to fear what they feared? Or is he going with them and staying with them? Like, what's...
You know what I think?
What?
Lead into the sequel series.
No, they're not doing them. They said they're not.
They're not going to do any series?
The only series they're doing is the Fire and Blood, which is about the Targaryens.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard there were 3.
Right now, they're only launching 1 pilot.
Oh, okay.
And they've said that there won't be any spin-offs. Now, I mean, I guess it depends
on when I see it.
Yeah. But, you know, I just thought that I liked this. There was some ambiguity. I like that Sansa, well, I have some serious issues with Sansa because I think she's kind of responsible for like fucking that city getting burned. But,
well, I mean, yeah, but also
like if you ship Sansa really hard, you're like, no, Sansa, my wife. But, you know, like she becomes a ruler. She's clearly the smartest one of the bunch. And so she rules. I like that Tyrion doesn't fucking die. And has to do a job that he wants, but now doesn't want. And I like that, like, Arya goes off to, like, be a badass.
Yeah, I like that Arya gets to be an explorer. Like that, like, I was really glad that, first of all, they didn't ship her. But more importantly, I was really glad that, like, she started off wanting to be a badass. She became a badass, and then she stayed a badass. Yep. Like, so often, like, 5 years ago, this show ends with everybody being married and Arya living the life of a princess. And I'm glad that didn't happen this time.
I'm 100% with that. I think the Arya storyline ends in such a great way. And when we look at like just the not good stories, I mean, a lot of the problems how women are portrayed in this show, like I think Arya has a really good story arc and ending to that show.
Honestly, the one thing I was a little sad with, I was kind of hoping that that big important scene would like Jon would just take his face off and it would have been Arya. It's just like, oh, I wanted that.
I know.
I wanted that.
I actually said the same thing, like you got that one time in the entire show and she never did it again. And I was like,
she did it a few times. There was one really big moment though.
Yeah, well, I mean when she kills all the Freys.
Right.
But she doesn't really use it after that point. Like it's pretty well, like she's still a sneaky and ninja, but she doesn't do the face thing.
Yeah.
I totally was hoping that she'd kill Daenerys. It would be her and Jon's face. But that means she would have had to kill Jon.
I mean, of course, like the thing everybody wanted it for was Cersei, and I'm glad they didn't. Like everybody hated that moment that she just dies under rubble. It's like, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful end. Is that sometimes the most powerful people don't die by like a savior's hand. They just fucking die.
Well, it's funny. I was one of those people because I totally said to Sarah, I was like, I'm a bad person for thinking this, right? It's like because I wanted to see her suffer, which makes me a bad human being. But you just hate her so much. And then Sarah, I gotta give her credit. She called a bunch of this shit too. She goes, yeah, but she watches her whole world crumble around her, the thing she sacrificed her children for, and it kills her. Eventually, like her ambition kills her in a pile of rubble. And you realize that like Jaime isn't a good person.
Is that really how you read it?
I read it as, that she took all, like, the thing she wanted so badly was the throne, right? And she did all these steps to keep the throne and keep the keep. She basically kills her last kid. Like, she pushes him to suicide. She takes the throne. She has another baby. She's going to restart anew, right? Now, her and Jaime can be together. And in the end, because she keeps saying the Red Keep has never fallen. The Red Keep has never fallen. And then the dragon torches that shit up. And so she runs. And so literally her world is crumbling around her. She runs down the Red Keep to the dungeon where the dragon is. And then Jaime shows up and they're stuck. So these two people who are not good people die together. I love Jaime because to me, it's such a real person. Like, yeah, he has moments of redemption. And you know what? At the end of the day, he's still kind of a shitty human being, which he basically says. He's like, I'm a bad person.
See, I don't know. I read that Cersei story completely differently. I like, as terrible as it is, I felt that like she was an abused woman who like found power through her abuse and used it to like protect her family. Like as much as she was using her children for power, I always kind of read that power was in the service of protecting her children. Like they send her daughters off to
Dorne.
to Dorne to be protected. She she's constantly trying to lead and like handhold her children to kind of take care of them through the kingmanship, and she's just like they fucking hate her. Like everything in this world hates her, and she's just learned to put on a strong veneer because of it. But I always read that like deep down inside, she just wanted to protect her family.
I think
Like that the children that were the only thing that she had some sort of like real actual connection to.
I think you're right. I think up through Marcella. Like I think Tommen, she did until Tommen falls in love with Marjorie. And basically when she views Tommen as lost to this other woman, she doesn't care anymore. Like
see, I thought that like she hated Marjorie because she was going to take Tommen away from her.
She did, but I think once that happens, he becomes just a victim of war, and then she becomes power. Because remember, the whole time she's trying to lead. She's leading through proxy of her kids. So I think that's because everyone in the show has like huge flaws, right? And hers is her power lust. Because she was told she was going to be queen. She was told she was going to be, those are the prophecies.
Well, right. And she is what Sansa could have been.
Right. Sansa is her perfected, I think, is kind of how I look. Like Sansa is the culmination of Littlefinger and Cersei, who's not as evil.
Oh, see, I don't think it's Cersei. I think it's Joffrey. I think she's like the culmination of Joffrey and Littlefinger and fucking what's his face with the dogs.
No, I didn't mean by her abuse. I meant like I think she's the best of Cersei as a leader. I think Sansa demonstrates the best of Cersei, kind of like she's the best of the manipulators in Littlefinger, like what she does to Tyrion, like how she manipulates that ending to take place. Again, this is why I think it was a really well written episode in terms of like you can have these conversations, like what happened to these people. What I was really fine with season 8 as a whole. I know people are like season 8 sucked. I was like, Dany's changed and it makes sense. I was like, really? It didn't? Because shit made sense to me. Like,
no, we could go on for hours. We need to get started.
Sorry. Whew. Game of Thrones.